What is up, everybody? This is my new video, my new channel idea. I'm just trying out some new videos, on the channel. But this is my first video, and I'm just gonna talk about Connor and his return, pretty much. And yeah, so looking at 329, we have a pretty good card, prelims looking pretty nice. Like everything about it's looking pretty good, honestly. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk about all of my picks for this card because I'll go over picks, then like some stuff behind it, and then yeah, that's pretty much all I'm gonna talk about. So ladies, let's get it started off with Cody Durden and Alessandro Costa. So my pick for this is probably going to be um Alessandro Costa. He fought in June on the Bilal Muhammad card, and he got a really good KO over. I will say a withered match. No, like he's out of his prime. I mean, the guy kind of sucks at this point. 36-year-old match now. It's not exactly making a title shot runner anytime soon, but still a solid win, I would say. It's coming off two TKO or no, two KO, yeah, KOs, I believe, wins. So, and Cody Durden, well, I mean, his last fight against Rafael Filo. Uh, he didn't look. He looked okay, I guess, but nothing special. I mean, he's 35 years old, and he's getting kind of old, and he's a little chinny. He's still a tough guy, but I mean, if you look at his last five, he's 1-5, with his last one being a decision. So, yeah, not exactly the greatest of events for him. But moving on to Ryan Gandra and Zachary Reese. Honestly, this isn't a fight I'm looking forward to very much. Zachary Reese's last fight, split decision loss to Michael Pereira, which, if you're losing to Michael Pereira in the Big 26 at his age, I feel like you don't really have rights to be stepping in a UFC octagon, but yeah. Ryan Gandra isn't exactly a pull away fighter either. I mean, he's last two KO wins. I think this fight will show whether or not he's a legitimate prospect. I'm not saying Zachary Reese is a big like step up or anything, but Zachary Reese, people forget, man. Zachary Reese, oh man, this guy is gonna absolutely marauder, man. He does leg kicks, man. But he's not that good. And I would be talking about Fareed Barsharat versus Ethan Ewing, but unfortunately, the fight was called off. I think Ethan had something with his shoulder, maybe. I don't know. He dropped out of the fight against Fareed Barsharat. Very unfortunate. That was going to be a great fight, and I really thought Ethan was going to pull away another win. But moving on, Damian Pinas. Whoa, Pinas versus Cesar Almeida. Cesar Almeida is a guy where he's 38 years old. He's a 7-2 professional MMA fighter. And he kind of sucks, if I'm being quite honest. This is a pretty easy win for DP here. I had DP by first round knockout. I don't see a world where Cesar Almeida pulls off the upset. Damian Pinnis is an absolute beast. He's won all of his fights. He's finished all of his fights in the first or second round, and his only loss was an illegal kick. And it was on the original scene. So I see Damian Pinas going out there and pulling off a first round KO, TKO, pretty much whatever he wants. This next fight on the card, Tracy Cortez and Wang Chong. This is gonna be probably this worst fight on the card. No offense to women's MMA, but I don't think this is actually gonna be a bar burner. Nothing special there. I guess Tracy Cortez. I'm not really knowledgeable on either of these fighters very well. Now we have Luke Riley, and our next fight is Luke Riley versus Kai Kamaka. I have no clue how to say that guy's name. But yeah, he looks alright, I guess. He's only had one fight in the UFC, and it was a split decision win in April against Dakota Hope. and that's not exactly a huge name or anything. But yeah. Yeah, I got Luke Riley winning this one. I don't think he's as legitimate of a prospect as people say he is, but at the same time I don't think he's a bad fighter. I don't think he's gonna be a crazy fighter or anything, but I think he's decent. Next we have this might be really bad for Cody. Cody Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez. I have Adrian Yanez by brutal first round KO. Um, yeah, Adrian is a little chinny. I'll say that. He did get KO'd by Rob Font back in 2023, which is not a very good part on his record. Not a very good loss, but at the same time, it is Rob Font. He's a seasoned veteran. He may be pillow fisted, but he's a crafty vet. And Cody does have some power. But I think this is a matchup of a glass cannon versus a glass cannon. And moving on to Gable Stevenson, Mr. Loophole himself, versus Elisha Ellison. I don't really think there needs to be much said here. I think Gable pulls out a win pretty easily. I don't think there's any way he loses this fight. He did have a pretty bad fight on the regional scene against a random in whatever organization he was fighting in, but where he got taken to a decision, which does not look good. But Elisha Ellison sucks, so I'm not really worried about it. And Nikita Krylov and Robert Whitaker. This is a very interesting fight because this is Robert's first fight at light heavyweight. I think it will be a good advantage for him. At the same time, he can be losing split decisions to Reiner D. Ritter in 2025, brother. His last five, he's 2-3. One of those was a knockout against DDP, and back all the way back in 2023. He also got submitted by Chimaev, which isn't a bad loss, but split decision loss to Reiner D. Ritter. This fight, absolute. Um, it was uh, it was a fight. It was a fight for sure. It was a main event where Robert looks not really like himself. He looked kind of out of it. Didn't look very good, but he's. I guess that was like his comeback. I guess, but now Nikita Krylov, he is a very skilled fighter still to this day. His last fight back in January against Modestas Bukauskas was very impressive, I will say. It was a very impressive showing. But Modestas Bukauskas is not a very impressive fighter. But at the same time, Nikita Krylov's last five, he's 3-2. I'm gonna go with Krylov via TKO, and I'll say the second round. Oh, now this one, King Green, Terrence McKinney. Now, this is a fight where really anything can happen. I really don't know because Terrence is pretty crazy. But at the same time, I think King Green is just too experienced. He's coming off of three very good wins. Very good wins where he's looked, well, three really good wins. Okay. Three really good wins. Lance Gibson was a little bit of a stinker, not gonna lie. He was kind of just standing at range and jabbing. No King Green hate though on this channel. Um Jeremy Stevens fight looked great. Now, whether Jeremy Stevens, freaking 40-year-old Jeremy Stevens question, whatever. Daniel Zellhuber, that one was phenomenal. That was the one that really, I feel like that one really is kind of what shot him up to be a little bit of more of a name now. I will say King Green and Terrence McKinney both have glass chins, both glass cannons. But at the same time, I feel like King Green can take a little bit more of a punch than Terrence McKinney can. Um, McKinney can, wow, that's a sentence. But anyways, yeah, that was a I don't know. I think Terrence is pretty skilled at either getting knocked out or having the best knockout you've ever seen in your whole life. Both glass cannons. I think King Green pulls away. Maybe this fight isn't going to decision. I think King Green second round submission maybe. I think he throws up a submission in the second round against Terrence McKinney, and I think he can pull it off. Anyway, moving on. Brandon Royval versus Loner Kavanaugh. Now this is a very interesting fight because you have a guy in Loner Kavanaugh where he's losing to Charles Johnson versus in a brutal KO loss, where Johnson, excuse me, is a guy where I mean he's losing to Asu Almabaya via frickin' Roman stretch or some BS. Like, dude, you can't be doing that. Like, come on, man. Like, dude, you gotta get a grappling class in there or something. But his last fight versus Brandon Moreno and Leonard Kavanaugh, he looks really great. Definitely, I think he proved he's a little more than just a boxer. You know, he's got good grappling. His grappling was definitely checked by Brandon Moreno, and he weathered the storm. So and also this is the guy in Brandon Royval where 33 for flyweight is getting up there. Little Brandon Royval's coming off with two pretty bad losses against Josh Fan and Manel Kopp, which two very skilled opponents. I don't think Leonard Kavanaugh's exactly a Manel Kopp or Josh Fan, but I mean, man, Brandon Royval is a guy where it's like he throws 400 significant strikes a fight, but lands 20, and and he's pillow fisted, so it's not like he's knocking anyone out. So I got probably loner via decision. Yeah, loner decision. Anyways, moving on to a bantamweight fight, Corey Sandhagen and Mario Batista. I think Mario Batista is a guy where he's on the rise and he has a few good wins, but at the same time, like, dude, he's a guy where it's like he beat Patchy Mix, a Bellator bum, pretty much. And people were saying, "Oh, Patchy Mix, the next guy up." Mario Batista genuinely looked like Max Holloway against Patchy Mix. This guy looked like he made Patchy Mix look like a disabled child. I mean, he made him look stupid. And I will say, Mario Bautista hasn't had a KO win since 2020. That is terrible. He has had a handful of submissions in the past few years, but his main fight against Vinicus Oliveira recently was a really big pull for me. And but at the same time, man, I don't think Corey Sandhagen is going to get submitted like some of these guys out here, like Vinicus Oliveira will. I think Corey weathers the storm striking wise in the first round. I think he honestly is going to point Mario Bautista. I think he's going to outstrike him. And I think he just is a better grappler. I mean, Corey Sandhagen, he's against Marab, he really didn't look too bad. Well, he looked bad, don't get me wrong, but like he didn't look like he was getting like absolutely like dismantled. He just looked like it just looked like a classic like Marab fight, knee in the thigh, kicking the body. Corey didn't look too bad, but I think Corey, he is coming off of a title loss to Marab, but I think he pulls away. I think he beats Mario Batista via, uh, I would say probably like decision. I think he takes him to decision and wins. All right, this is a very interesting fight right here. Benoit Saint Denis versus Paddy Pimblett. Now, I will say, Benoit, he does have staph infection. That is terrible. That is gonna affect the fight for sure. Last time he had staph, we all know what happened. He got knocked out by Dustin Poirier, which is not a good look, but at the same time, it's Dustin Poirier. Like, that's not exactly a bad loss. And, this is a guy where Benoit Saint Denis, he's fought his last five, he's 4-1. His last loss was to Renato Moicano via TKO. It wasn't really a TKO, it was a doctor stoppage, but he still lost. Both of these guys were really young. Uh, Benoit Saint Denis has a height advantage. He doesn't have breaches tied. This is really, honestly, it's a 50-50 fight just because Benoit has staff, but I think Benoit's gonna probably, I don't think he's gonna be able to submit Patty, but I think he's gonna kind of how a Gaethje would do it. Just clinch him and uppercut him to a decision. I think Benoit Saint Denis wins a decision. And finally, the main event, Conor McGregor, Max Holloway. I really would love to see a McGregor return where he just absolutely starches Max in the first round. Do I think that's going to happen? No. Would everyone love to see that? Probably, except for the Max Glazers on TikTok. Everyone would love to see that. I will say, Max has very little to no grappling. Um, well, not little to no, but very little amounts of anti-grappling. He saw that against Charles, and he was getting pieced by Charles on the feet because he was so tired. I think Connor might TKO him in the second or third round. and I think he's going to grapple him. I think he's going to mount him, and I think he's just going to start raining down blows. And I just don't think Conor's going to be able to weather the storm on the feet. But I think grappling wise, I think he for sure has a little edge there. But yeah, and yeah, I'm gonna go with if I'm going with my heart, I want Conor to win a first round KO. Obviously. But if I'm thinking logically, Max would be a fourth round KO. It's in welterweight. Connor's going to be beefed up. Max is going to be even more beefed up. He already has probably cut to make welterweight. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for today's video. I think this is a good first video, good topic to talk about. And thank you all for listening and watching these videos. And I'll see you all next time. I'll make a post about my next video that I'll make, and thank you all.